Thank you very much. Welcome to the first Zabbix conference in Latin America. I'm very, very happy to be here. And I would like to thank our platinum sponsor, the company, Modularity company, and personally, Mr. Luciano Alves, who did a lot and his team. They did a lot in organizing this event and helped very much. So thank you very much. I have a few topics today to discuss. I think the major one is about Zabbix 3.2. I will also mention some things, what happened last year and maybe this year. So let's start. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Alexey Vladyshev. I'm creator of Zabbix. So basically, I started my work on Zabbix a long time ago in 1997 or 1998. I've been working on Zabbix for more than 17 or 18 years, and currently I'm a CEO and product manager of Zabbix company. So basically, I'm responsible for all major technical decisions and all strategic decisions in regards of the company. So for those who don't know, and I'd like to remind what is Zabbix. Yeah, just in very simple terms. So Zabbix is a universal open source enterprise monitoring solution. And I think that all words in this definition are very, very important. So it's a monitoring solution. That's our primary focus. We are not focused on anything else. We are building a monitoring solution that can be used for performance, availability monitoring, for alerting users, and it's universal. So universal means that Zabbix is not only for IT monitoring. It's not only about the software application network monitoring. It can be used for many different applications like monitoring of environmental conditions, temperature, data coming from sensors, IoT applications, and so on. It's open source. It's free. You're a big company or a small company, you go to Zabbix.com, you download Zabbix software, and you can use it for free. We have a single version of Zabbix, and all enterprise features, it comes in a single package. You don't need to pay. It's free, open source, it's released under GPL v2 license, exactly the same license as the Linux kernel, for example, uses. And it's enterprise level. What do I mean by telling enterprise level? It means if you're a corporation or a big company, you'd like to use Zabbix, Zabbix can be quite easily integrated into your existing stack of technologies or stack of applications. You may use other monitoring tools. You may use ticketing systems. You have some help desk systems, configuration management systems. And if you implement Zabbix and you adopt Zabbix in your corporation, it's quite an easy task because Zabbix has all abilities to be integrated into existing stack of technologies. So this is very important. Universal, open source, enterprise level monitoring solution, and this is a primary focus of Zabbix. So let me give you a quick overview what happened last year and beginning of this year. Last year, and just to remind you where we are, our headquarters are in Europe, in Lithuania, Latvia, and Riga. This is where we have a team of developers, we have a support team, we also have our sales guys and marketing guys. Basically, this is the center of operations of the whole Zabbix. We also have a subsidiary company in Tokyo, in Japan. We opened it many years ago, and it was a great success for us. And last year, we also decided to open a subsidiary company in the United States. Yeah, so now we have basically Zabbix and subsidiary companies of Zabbix on most of the continents. Europe, Japan, Asia, and United States. So last year we reached 100 of Zabbix partners around the world. Partners are really, really important for us because partners are very close to users, very close to the customers. They understand users' needs. And I'm very happy that, again, we have customers not only in Europe, but everywhere. North America, South America, Australia, China, Japan, well, everywhere. Yeah, so Zabbix is free, but sometimes you may decide to use commercial services that we provide. So you may order the services from Zabbix or from our partners. Sometimes it's just much easier and cheaper rather than, well, pay maybe your employees and your staff. Recently, we introduced a new resource, which is called share.zabbix.com. And we'd like to make share.zabbix.com like a central place for all things related to Zabbix, templates, how-tos, and models. So Zabbix users, customers, maybe partners, they all can communicate and put Zabbix-related information there. And what's really nice is that we integrated a link to share.zabbix.com to the new front end. So it's very easily accessible. If you install Zabbix 3.2, okay, you click on share, you go straight to share.zabbix.com, and you may find some templates there. For example, you'd like to find a template to monitor specific Cisco device, or you'd like to have solution for integration of Zabbix with Service Desk, or I don't know, Telegram or Skype, whatever. You may go to share.zabbix.com and you can try to find the solution there. And it's very easy to start working with share.zabbix.com. You just go there, you have a template, you use your existing credentials from GitHub or LinkedIn or Facebook and just put a new templates or new models there. And finally, I think that's very good news that this year we released Zabbix 3.0, yeah, after 1.5 years of development. And I think Zabbix 3.0, it's been the most successful release ever. Yeah? Zabbix 3.0 released this February, initially planned to be released in May last year, so it's been delayed for 9 months. Yeah? It's a shame. Yeah, because we really promised to users, okay, it will be available in May, then, okay, maybe in September, maybe in December, and finally February this year. Yeah, so it's been delayed for 9 months. Because of this delay, we decided to extend support of Zabbix 2.2. Let me remind you, we have LTS versions of Zabbix like 2.2, 2.0, and 3.0. These are long-term support. We are supporting these versions for 5 years. Okay? And because of this delay, we decided to prolong support of Zabbix 2.2 by extra 9 months. If you are still running 2.2, that's absolutely fine. You don't have a hurry to upgrade to 3.0. You don't need to upgrade. You can still use Zabbix 2.2 for another, well, 3 years. You'll get patches, you'll get bug fixes, you'll get fixes for security related issues. Okay? So everything is fine. You may still stay on Zabbix 2.2 for 3 years. But if you decide to upgrade, and actually Zabbix 3.0 has many good reasons to upgrade. We improved, there will be a talk about Zabbix 3.0 new features, but just a few highlights. Zabbix 3.0 comes with a better front end. It has a trend prediction functions. It has a security authentication built in. So there are many, many good reasons to upgrade to Zabbix 3.0. And the obvious question, of course, is it safe? Is it safe to upgrade to 3.0? Yeah, because some people say, okay, let's wait 3.09 or 3.05, and then we'll start thinking about upgrading. Okay? But I already mentioned that Zabbix 3.0 was a very high quality release. Yeah, I think that was the best release ever. Yeah, if you compare to 2.2 or 2.4. So my answer, yes, it's okay to release right now. If after maybe a couple of weeks after release of 3.0, we had a version of 3.01 which fixed all critical issues. Yeah. At this moment, we have 3.02 release candidate 1, So it means that 3.02 will probably be released early next week, if everything will be fine. So 3.02 will be released next week. So if you'd like to be absolutely sure in stability of Zabbix, or you want to be careful, I would probably suggest to wait for 3.02. It comes also with a number of bug fixes. Okay, so how easy is to upgrade from 2.2 or 2.4 or 2.0 to 3.0, and how much time it may take? I would say that for most of the installations, it should take maybe no more than 5-10 minutes. 5 minutes of the downtime. Yeah. There are some exceptions, of course. If you have a large number of proxies, you need to upgrade everything. You need to upgrade servers and proxy binaries and the front end. Okay, we don't keep backward compatibility with the proxies. Yeah, just remember about this. But what we do keep, we keep backward compatibility of Zabbix agents. So you don't need to touch Zabbix agents. If you have thousands of agents, tens of thousands of agents, or even more, you don't need to upgrade them. We have a backward compatibility of Zabbix agents since Zabbix 1.0. Yeah, if you have very, very old Zabbix agent running somewhere 10 years old, it will still work with the Zabbix 3.0, which is very good news. So I said the typical upgrade time, maybe not upgrade time, but downtime is 5 minutes or less. We don't touch any historical tables, no history, no events. That's why upgrade time is so quick. But obviously, we have a new dependencies on a newer version of PHP or some other dependencies, so you may need to upgrade your operating system in some cases if you have very old operating system, like Red Hat 4 or maybe Red Hat 5, then I would probably suggest to upgrade to a newer version of the operating system. Now let me respond to the most popular question I receive almost every day. So how do you think? What is the most popular question I receive? The question is very simple. People are always asking, when will some feature be implemented? When will, I don't know, S-flow monitoring will be implemented? When will we get some nice, cool graphs in the Zabbix front end? When we'll get this or that? Yeah. And for me, it's quite difficult to respond to these questions, and I will try to explain why. This question actually could be transformed to a different one, which is how do we basically create a roadmap? How do we decide what feature needs to be included in the next major release and what feature we don't want to include? And let me explain the process, how we make this decision and how I make this decision. So, for example, now we are thinking about Zabbix 3.2 roadmap. Roadmap is basically the list of features we'd like to include in the next major release. And we take new features from a number of sources. First, it's a paid development. Yeah, we have customers. Customers want to include some feature into Zabbix. They pay us for this development work, and we include this feature into our main product. I would say that this is the most straightforward way how to get feature implemented into Zabbix. You pay, we deliver it. And the good thing about it is that you pay for development only. You don't need to pay for support because we guarantee support in newer versions of Zabbix absolutely for free. Okay, so the paid development. Another one is strategic features. What are the strategic features? For example, when I think about Zabbix and the future of Zabbix, I have my own vision, and I'd like to understand what features might be very, very important, maybe in some longer term, in a longer term, like 3 years plus 5 years. So, for example, in 3.0, we introduced encryption and authentication. So this is a very strategic function because it's really needed for most of the customers. Yeah, it's a must to have in the monitoring system. We also, and it's not a paid development. No one paid us to implement encryption and authentication. We decided, okay, this feature needs to be in Zabbix. Another example is improvements related to Zabbix front end. Also, it's clearly, I think it's very clear not only for us as developers of Zabbix, but for our users that we need to improve a Zabbix front end to make it more usable, to make it more user-friendly. So we decided, okay, we need to implement it as well. So strategic features, we grab some features from there. And strategic features mostly are very big features. Yeah, we spent more than 1 year developing encryption and authentication in Zabbix, for example. Community. That's another very, very important source of ideas and the features. The features coming from community, from our users. On support.zabbix.com, we have a project which is called Zabbix Next, and people may register their own wishes, their own features they want to see in Zabbix. And other users may vote for the features. And what we do, we just sort all these features by number of votes, and we decide, okay, this feature is the top voted one. It means that many users want this feature to be implemented into Zabbix. So what we do, we pick up some features from the list and implement them. I'd like to tell you that maybe 3 of top 5 of the most requested features were implemented into 4. 3 or 4 of top 5 most requested features were implemented in 3.0 and 2.2. So this is another a way how to influence development on Zabbix. Have a look at list of the features and vote. We really pay very serious attention to what our community and our user thinks about the future of Zabbix. Another source is, I call it functional or technical debt. Sometimes we decide to improve the technological side. For example, we introduce MVC framework for Zabbix front end. We do some refactoring for code. This is what I call the technological or technical debt. And there is sometimes a functional debt. For example, we introduced low-level discovery a long time ago, but then we need to improve it a little bit. We implemented a better filtering in the next release. Then we implemented automatic creation of application in Zabbix 3.0. So I call it functional depth. This is already existing features, and we know how we can make those features even better for users. And another source of ideas is coming from so-called blocking features. I call them blocking features. Why blocking? Normally it's a very small feature. Maybe it takes a few days to implement this feature. But it's really, really important for some group of Zabbix users. Let me give you an example. Support of discrete sensors for IPMI. For those who don't use IPMI, it's not important at all. But if you seriously use IPMI, it could be a very blocking feature for you. If feature is not there, you wouldn't use Zabbix maybe for serious IPMI level monitoring. That's what I call a blocking feature. Blocking for some groups of users. So, and my message here is basically that roadmap is a result of a compromise. We cannot implement everything. Please don't expect Zabbix to implement all features in the next major release. It won't happen. Even the largest companies, I don't know, Microsoft, IBM, whatever, Red Hat, they don't have abilities and resources to have everything implemented in one go. All right? And Zabbix, being a smaller company, obviously we don't have those resources as well. So it's a result of the compromise. We pick up something from a paid development. It's important because this is where money comes to the company, so we may grow and support a Zabbix team. We pick up some strategic features because they're very, very important for future of Zabbix and a long-term growth. We pick up some features from a community because that's what really needed right now to users. We also improve a product, fixing some technological debt and improving functional things. And we also fix blocking features here and there in different areas of Zabbix. This is how Zabbix roadmap is created. Not necessarily Zabbix 3.2 roadmap, but in all versions of Zabbix. Now, let's talk about Zabbix 3.2. And I will give you just a number of high-level directions for Zabbix 3.2, what we'd like to improve. What are the areas of improvement in Zabbix 3.2? Obviously, Zabbix UI. We made some improvements, major improvements in 3.0, but it's just a beginning. It's just a first step of improving Zabbix UI. I really want to make it more user-friendly. I'd like to make it more integrated, so one feature of Zabbix is well integrated with another feature, so there will be not so much clicking in the Zabbix front end, so you don't have to click to go from one section of the front end to another. I'd like to improve the visualization abilities and the way how Zabbix represents data to users. It could be, well, reporting or a real-time visualization, maps, whatever, but we really need to find a very good way how to give this information to users. Okay, so Zabbix UI, we may expect some additional improvements in Zabbix 3.2. Advanced log monitoring and trap processing. What do I mean here? If you use log monitoring with Zabbix, I guess you know this quite common issue. When we have one log file, it may report about the problems with the different services or different applications, and there is no way to handle those problems individually. Zabbix may report about problems like Oracle stopped or MySQL stopped or something else happened, but there is no way how to treat those problems individually and close them individually, which is very, very important. Yeah? You may close all or nothing. You may close all problems or no problems at all. Another issue is that currently it's impossible to close problems manually from Zabbix UI. Okay? Zabbix may detect a problem. You know for sure that the problem no longer exists, and there is no way to tell Zabbix, okay, this problem no longer exists. It's just this functionality is not there. Yeah, it also needs to be improved. Another big area is event correlations. Event correlation is basically dependencies between different groups or different events. We may have some sort of event correlation on a trigger level. It's very low-level event correlation when we define kind of dependencies between the different metrics. We may define some dependencies on a trigger level. It's called trigger dependencies. Sometimes it's not so easy to do it because you end up with creating too many dependencies, and it's not so easy to follow those dependencies. For larger environments, if you're responsible for monitoring complex infrastructure, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of devices, it doesn't work well. We should build another level of abstraction on a problem level. So we need to find correlations between the problems on a level of events. That would allow us to do some interesting things, like, for example, event deduplication or fighting with event storms. For example, you have a data center down, yeah? The whole data center is down, or maybe there is a major disaster with your IT infrastructure. In Zabbix, you will probably see lots of different problems which are maybe related or unrelated to each other. So I'd like to make Zabbix clever enough so it will understand clearly that, okay, this is all result of a single problem. Instead of seeing hundreds or maybe thousands or tens of thousands of problems in Zabbix front end, you'll see maybe just a root cause of all these issues. Okay, so this is very, very important. So it's event deduplication when one event is generated, one source is generating one event, another event, maybe hundreds of events, but instead of seeing hundreds of events, you'll see just the one, like aggregated event. We've got so many problems with this specific device. It's very interesting. I'm very excited about this new functionality, and it's coming in 3.2. Another area is modularity. Most of features, most of functionality in Zabbix could be implemented as a separate module if you want to. But currently, in fact, we may have modules only for extending Zabbix agents, for extending checks on Zabbix server side. Maybe we may use some excuse me, external scripts, and that's it. Yeah, there is no way to have well, connection to a different history storage. There is no way to extend trigger expressions or make a pre-processing for items. I will give you one example. Some time ago, maybe 2 years ago, we implemented monitoring of VMware, which was very great implementation. I think the best performance-wise implementation of VMware monitoring on the market. Okay, but it wasn't implemented as a separate module. It was tightly integrated into Zabbix, and because of this, it's not so easy to have a Zen monitoring or maybe a monitoring of the containerization built as a separate modules right now. Yeah, so this code is very tightly integrated into Zabbix. Okay, so what I'd like to see most of Zabbix features built as individual modules, so that our users could extend functionality of Zabbix without having to modify Zabbix core code. All right, Zabbix 3.2 when? So when Zabbix 3.2 is going to be released? Let's have a look at our release cycle. That's what you can find on our website. So basically, we have LTS release X, like LTS 3.0, and after 6 months, we are releasing 3.2. After 6 months, we are releasing 3.4, and after 6 months, there will be another LTS, maybe 4.0. Yeah. So our goal is to have LTS releases to be completed every 1.5 years. But of course, you may remind me that, okay, there was a 3.0 story. Yeah, it was initially planned in May, long time ago. It's been delayed for, well, 9 months. Well, it's not good. So how can we trust you? How can we trust that Zabbix 3.2 will be released in August August this year? Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, I absolutely understand. But of course, the delays are very bad. Yeah, it's bad from many different reasons. When we promise Zabbix to be released in May, it means that, for example, the functionality we promised is delayed for 9 months. Some features we already implemented and which is stable enough to be used is not delivered. Yeah, so users and customers are waiting for extra 9 months or maybe extra 1 year, and it's not good. So it's really important to have a much shorter release cycle. So if we learn how to implement and how to release Zabbix every 6 months, this would be great. And of course, the long release cycle means no user feedback. We have some feature in Zabbix. This feature is not delivered or delivered every 11th month. There is a very little user feedback, so there is no the constant interaction with Zabbix user with other customers. So we have no way to think and to think about the user feedback. So my primary focus right now, it's kind of my personal responsibility at this moment, is to make all our best to deliver Zabbix in time. So if we promised, okay, Zabbix 3.2 will be delivered in August this year, we'll do all our best to deliver it in August this year. Why? I think we delayed Zabbix 3.0 for more than 9 months or 9 months. I think the reason number one is that we actually underestimated amount of time required to implement some of the features. We underestimated amount of time required to implement encryption and authentication on a very good level as we implemented. We underestimated amount of time to improve a Zabbix front end. We thought, okay, we'll do this first step. This first step won't require lots of time, and it will be done very quickly. But it appears that it was a very lengthy process because we made lots of modifications and lots of improvements. So in order to be more realistic, we need to have a better roadmap. We don't want to put all the features in the Zabbix 3.2. We just select it. Realistically, the features we'll be able to implement in the next 6 months. Because we don't have much time. At this moment, we have maybe 5 or less than 5 months to work on Zabbix 3.2. So we have to be very careful what features needs to be included into 3.2 roadmap. And of course, better resource planning and control with a very strict deadlines. We already working on Zabbix 3.2, and some of the features of Zabbix 3.2 could be already available in development branches for early preview. And release, yeah, so that's very, very important. If we have the release cycle fixed and we have Zabbix released every 6 months, it will be a good news for all our users and for our community. Well, thank you very much.
My name is Fabio from Movili. In your vision, how big is our community, Brazilian community, in your vision, in your Zabbix vision?
Yeah, well, talking about the communities, I guess we have 3 largest communities, Zabbix communities in the world geographically. This is the Japanese, it's Brazilian, and the community in Russia. I guess the Brazilian community is number 1 or number 2 by the number of registered people. Yeah, so it's very close maybe to what we have in Japan. Yeah, so the 2 biggest communities in the world of Zabbix. Yeah. Anything else? Feel free to ask in Portuguese, so it will be translated, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, my name is Marcelo from F13 Technology. My personal doubt about the versions is how safe is to use 0.4 or 0.2 in the choice. Even that's not a LTS release. That's when I start a big project, I need to start with a LTS release or 0.4 or 0.2 release.
Okay. Can we return back to my presentation? Yeah, so this is what you may find in this is official support. So we have, what we have at the moment, we have Zabbix 2.0, we have Zabbix 2.2, which is LTS, will be supported for another 3 years. We have 2.4, which is no longer supported. 2.4 is no longer supported. 2.4 is supported till release of 3.0 plus 1 month, and it's over. 2.4 is no longer supported. If you are running on 2.4, please upgrade or consider to upgrade to 3.0 as soon as possible. And Zabbix 3.0 LTS will be supported for 5 years. It means end of 2020, so you're pretty safe. It really depends on what you'd like to achieve. If you'd like to have a stability, go with LTS release. If you'd like to get the latest features and the latest functionality from Zabbix, I would probably suggest to have normal releases. Yeah, it's really up to you. But just make sure that you have resources to upgrade from one release to another when new version comes.
Okay, thank you.
Peter from TL Informática. I first want to thank you for the product. I use it many years and it's very useful day to day. And I have a concern about the duplication feature you are in the future, in the roadmap. It's important to see all the services affected by a problem. And that you don't, when you deduplicate everything, I think you have to see all the services that are affected, not just the main problem. Yeah, how do you see this discussion?
Yeah, okay, I absolutely agree. So actually, there are two levels. One level is event deduplication, when one event kind of closes automatically another events. Yeah, but still we have this linkage. We understand why. We understand what events and what problems were closed. So we still have the access to this information. So this is one level. Another level we may want to implement, and it will be implemented at some point, is ability to hide event from Zabbix UI. Okay, so we know we have a problem, but we don't want this problem to be visible on Zabbix UI. So this is another way how to have this information, which maybe is not visible by default, but if you'd like to see it, you just click and you see those hidden problems.
Hello, Alessandro from Red Hat. I have a curious about when a vulnerability is discovered in Zabbix, how this is treated by Zabbix. When a vulnerability issue is discovered by Zabbix or reported by?
Well, I already mentioned that Zabbix is a universal system. It could be used for vulnerability discovery, for some security-related application and usage. It's not something we'll be focused on, but we give you a platform, like a universal monitoring platform, and you can apply it for different applications, including vulnerability discovery. So that's really up to you how you use Zabbix, but I don't think there will be a focus on specifically on vulnerability discovery from a Zabbix. No. I'm not sure if I answered your question or not, just let me know.
A vulnerability in the product, in the Zabbix product. Maybe
at some point there will be some basic support, but I really need to understand the requirements, what you mean by vulnerability discovery and what specific features and specific checks you'd like to see implemented. So maybe I'd like to learn more about it. We may have a discussion later maybe. Okay, thanks.
Hello, my name is Norberto. I'm from CISPRO. And what should we expect for the future about development partnership with Zabbix? Do you have any plan to develop other groups or a systematic to develop? You said about modules. Should we expect some rules or some standards to develop modules or something like that?
Yeah. For example, at this moment we have very strictly defined coding guidelines. The coding guidelines we use internally when we develop a Zabbix. So we expect users, if you want to submit a patch to Zabbix or a bug fix, we expect this patch to follow our coding standards. In regards of modules, what you will probably see is a well-documented API, how to build a model, what API or what functions are available for the integration work. That's what we are going to provide. The quality of the models, it's really up to you. If we'd like this model to be independent or built by you or your company, it's really up to you how you develop this model. You may use different languages. We use one language, you may use Python, Ruby, Go, Rust, whatever. Yeah, so there is no control of how these models needs to be developed. But the API is really, really important. Okay.